Hello, hello. Back with another video. As always, truly appreciate you for taking the time out of your day to be with me and listen to me express what's on my heart and what the Lord presently has me at. Um, just go around the. It's interesting. I'm progressing and been in an interesting space and um, always being observant and doing my best to put myself in a position to uh, to being open to his spirit and what he's telling me to do and listening and things in that regard. And since the last video, a couple things have definitely stuck out a little bit more than others, as always. And just wanted to share that. So one of the first things that he definitely was dropping on my heart was the aspect of relationships, and just from a, I guess you could say, not from a like a friendship standpoint, but from like a mate standpoint, um, and so just looking at the relationships and looking at how society we treat relationships these days, and viewing some of the relationships that I have close to me to gain insight and knowledge off of, and some of the things that the Lord was definitely dropping on my heart was we definitely need to spend more time working on the internal and what we have going on inside instead of putting all this time and this energy into our external and flaunting everything that's on the outside. It's is very counterproductive to not do that. By us placing so much emphasis on our external, we do attract what we put out, and sometimes what we attract isn't necessarily always what we need. It may be what we think, what we want in that moment, but what we want isn't always what we need. So we definitely need to spend more time working on developing that internal as opposed to just flaunting that external. Um, because we're definitely more than just a physical being. We're more than just this external thing that we see. There's so much more to us spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. So many different paradigms and so many different characteristics and personalities and things about us that make us so intrinsically unique that it takes a specific type of individual to be with us in order for us to truly blossom and for that relationship to grow into what it was originally set out and intended to be. Um, but in doing that, also understand that unfortunately one of the things that I recognize is that there's a sense of a competition that's at place out here for finding that mate. There's so many people it seems are competing for each other's attention, and as a result, we're placing so much attention on the external and not giving ourselves an opportunity to develop that internal, or at least if we are developing the internal, we're not giving ourselves an opportunity for that internal to be recognized and received and perceived by whoever is meant for us, because our external is in this competitive landscape is attracting so much that it limits the opportunity for us to receive who's truly for us. It was interesting to share a story. I was out for one of my buddies. He was having a going away party, and one of my other buddies saw a young lady, and, stepped to her, interacted, and got her number, and then we left. And as we were leaving, I see another group of young men coming up, another young man talking to the same young lady who my buddy just got done talking to, and boom, they interact and they exchange information. And for me, it was just like, and I know my buddy, he's a good dude, especially knowing from where he's came from to where he is now, um, and just how he's truly applying himself and being an upstanding young man and everything like that. And he was being genuine and sincere. This is boom, boom, boom. Get the information. You think it could potentially be something, And then 15 minutes later, here comes the next Joe Blow, and you pass out the same information. And it's like, that's that competitive energy. I don't know, I guess it's putting more feelers out just so you can increase your odds of possibly attracting something, or I don't know what specifically went into that kind of mind frame. But in a situation like that, it's like you have so much competition for one individual that she possibly very well could be missing out on the gentleman who is for her, or the gentleman who is for her sitting back, recognizing and seeing the situation and seeing all these other dudes talking to her, and she's interacting with him, and then he's feeling like, I'm cool. If that's how you get down and you want to go ahead and you want to spread yourself thin, then do your thing. But at least from my vantage point, who I'm looking for, that's not my perspective, and that's not my mentality. It was said to me many years ago by a gentleman, and he gave the analogy of treating your body like a rose, and he was saying treating your body like a rose in reference to physical partners and who you lend yourself out to, because every time that you have that sexual interaction, a rose petal, in essence, will fall off. And when it comes time today for you to actually settle down and you to be with whoever you're supposed to be with, do you want to present your mate with a full, beautiful rose, or do you want to present your mate with a stem with a couple, like a small bud and a couple little petals left on it? And when he said that, I definitely made it up in my mind that I wanted to present my mate with a full, beautiful rose. Now, I'm not saying that to say, anything negative about anybody for how you live your life or anything like that. That's not my place to judge. I'm just saying, for me personally, and according to the will of the Lord, we are supposed to abstain, and we are supposed to maintain purity and holiness, and treat that interaction as something special, because it is something special. It's more than just a physical interaction. It's more than just a quick handshake like it's looked at these days. And unfortunately, because we live in a society where everybody is craving this attention and wanting this love and this interaction and this affection, and it's created a competitive energy, and we're flaunting the external instead of allowing the internal to be perceived and received. The fabric of the relationship and the respect for a true relationship is fallen by the wayside. Marriages are, looked at as something that's not as even really appealing. It's just looked at as something like a piece of paper, which to a certain degree I can understand, but I guess more so from the commitment standpoint. I guess my point is that marriage isn't looked at as something that's even necessary or relevant or even something esteemed to. It's looked at as something like a ball and a chain, which that's not, no, it's not the ball and the chain. It's a union. It's, two halves coming back to be one. It's a piece that was pieces that were separate that are forming and coming back. But like I said, with that whole dimension of our society and where we're living at, with the competitive nature of things, and with the flaunting of the external and everything like that, there's ramifications and things that fall by the wayside as a result of us indulging and feeding into that. So it's something that we definitely have to be mindful of, and something that we definitely have to take heed to. And definitely, especially for myself, knowing that I want love and relationships and wanting to engage in into that aspect of life again, I definitely have to make sure that I'm not just speaking these words, but that I'm actually living these words. So I'm taking the time to develop my internal, taking my time to continue to build and grow and put myself in a position to receive, the right person who is meant for me, and not being blinded or caught up in the moment of the lust of the flesh or the lust of the eyes, and seeing something that looks physically appealing or tempting, or because an opportunity presents itself, and going ahead and just doing it just because, like, I can't. That's not. It's not. It's not worth it. You can't do that. That juice isn't worth that squeeze to potentially miss out on who I'm supposed to be with for a temporary fix. It's not worth that. That juice isn't worth that squeeze for me. Um, so definitely looking at relationships, and just looking at how the fabric of them has been broken down largely. And I mean, granted, there are still individuals in love. There are still granted individuals who are pursuing that that commitment and want that commitment. And I definitely believe that I'm one of those people. So I know that there's definitely more people like that out there. In fact, going to a wedding soon, so that'll be beautiful to see. Two people who truly feel that connection, and feel like they found that one to 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 make that commitment to each other, and really solidify that love. And another aspect that the Lord has definitely been bringing to my mind, or at least allowing me to understand more, is this, as I'll call, or my mom referenced, this middle passage that I'm going to, this transitional stage that I'm in. A lot has been shifting and going on, and I wasn't necessarily understanding what was happening, or why it was happening, or where I was at, or what was going on. And I was just feeling in this weird little, I don't know, this angst in my body. I wasn't feeling like I was flowing. I was feeling like I was, I don't know, just lost in an abyss of sorts. Um, and I was speaking with my mom, and like I said, she dubbed it the middle passage. And but like I said, it was just more so a transition. It's going from one plateau, one level, to the next plateau and the next level, and that in between stage, that growth, that stretch, that step up, that right in between. And that's what that interesting feeling that I was feeling in, like I said many times in a few other videos, is that's a part of that, the flow and the be. There's a time to be, and be set and still, and wherever you're at, and embracing that environment and that situation. And then there's a time to flow and into that next situation, and into that next plateau. And that's where it definitely was flowing, but being comfortable and secure in the flow. And that's what I had to understand, and that's what I had to come to terms and to grips with. And in order to do that, I had to step back in order to really evaluate and appreciate where I was at, what I had done, what was transpiring, what had been taking place. Really just recognizing from an outside perspective in. I was too close to the situation, in a sense, like I wasn't allowing myself to really recognize what was happening and everything that was taking place around me. So I had to step back, remove myself, take a deep breath, and look from the outside perspective in, remember what the vision was, and what the different goals and the barometers that I was wanting to attain, and seeing if those barometers and those goals had been met. And they had, and they were different. Everything that the reason why I was in where I was at, I wanted to make sure that my family was secure, wanted to make sure that everybody was in a position to be able to take this next steps, or so when this next step happened, that everybody was in a more secure position in order to do it, and that everything wasn't in sorts or in jumbled or anything like that. And we're still trying to play catch up. My dad is in a beautiful situation. He just graduated from culinary school, and is in a position of, moving it into that transition. My younger brothers, they're in new situations and new schools and new districts, with more resources, more opportunities, a more diverse environment for them to learn and build and grow in different capacities. My mother, she just got promoted to a higher position. Now she's an assistant principal at an adult school, whereas she was a teacher at a high school previously and working at an adult school. So now she's in an elevated position, and I myself, I'm in a different position. Like I said, the family has been secured. I'm in a higher position of maturity and mental enlightenment and being able to truly understand myself in this world and who I am and where I'm going. Not saying that I figured out everything or anything like that, but I have a greater understanding of myself and my place in this life, and understanding what I have and what I can contribute and bring to the table, and how my piece fits into the overall puzzle. And I'm definitely in a position of where I've grown more into my man self. And like the scripture says, when I was a child, I thought like a child, I act like a child. Um, but now that I'm a man, I have to put away those childish things and act like a man. And I'm definitely taking that step and really am fully embracing it and embodying the man that the Lord has called me to be, and flowing into that lane and into my destiny and into that energy. So that's definitely been a beautiful journey, and that's definitely been a beautiful transition to step back and recognize. I'm writing all the time, and I have stacks of journals, and writing out my list of my goals and things like that. And like I said, step back and going back and rereading what I said I needed to accomplish, what I needed to do, and then also recognizing what I haven't done yet and what I still need to do. So it helps to reshift and refocus the vision, and it helps me to allow me to understand where I was, where I'm at, where I'm going, what I've done, what I'm doing, what I need to do. And that's definitely important, because so many moving parts and so many things going on in this life, and in my head all the time. I need to have that organization and having that opportunity to really just like, let me sit back, let me see what's going on, reassess, boom, okay, and then be able to move forward with where I need to be, and with a clear vision and with a clear understanding, with a clear heart, with a clear conscience, with a clear spirit, and just allowing that flow to really happen. If I'm not flowing and I'm feeling like I'm pressing, then I know that something is off. I'm feeling like something isn't quite right. So I just had to really step back and then reassess, and then boom, and then literally it was like I I was in my angst. I wasn't sure what I need to do. I prayed about it, waited for the direction, waited for the guidance, and then applied for a job on a Wednesday. Got a call back on a Thursday. I went out of town Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that Monday was a holiday. That two that following Wednesday, I had the interview. Thursday, no, excuse me. That following Wednesday, I had the interview. Got hired that same day. Then Thursday did an event, and then the following week, now I'm a full-time employee. So literally just that in a span of a week and a half, from feeling that angst to not knowing where I was at specifically, what I needed to do, where I was at, sitting back, reassessing, trusting in the Lord to give me the guidance and the direction, having my listening ears on, as my mom likes to say, and hearing where I needed to do, and utilizing what I have available to me in order to put myself in a position to get to where I needed to be. Using what I have to get what I want. Boom, embracing all of that, and literally feeling the angst, trusting it, trusting the vision, making a couple calls, applying myself to the process, and then boom, received what I needed. And it's interesting, growing up, one of the things that my mom would always tell me was you don't want to put the cart before the horse. And as far as getting all your ducks in a line and making sure that you have everything set up and boom, 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 moving methodically, moving systematically. But then also sometimes, like she was telling, as she was referencing, you do have to put the cart before the horse. In essence, sometimes you have to just jump out the window. You just have to take a leap of faith, and you may not necessarily know how you're going to take care of something, but if you know the opportunity that's before you is something that's for you, sometimes you just have to take that leap of faith, and then trust that everything that you need will be provided, because you stepped out on that faith, and that your faith will be rewarded with sure footing, and with the Lord providing everything that you need. And sure enough, the Lord has given me plenty and countless opportunities and examples to illustrate that He will definitely do that. Like I said, I was just in a place of angst. I wasn't knowing how I was going to do what I needed to do. Accounts looking ugly, needing to take care of some business, and boom, boom, boom. And then all of a sudden it's like, don't stress. What do you have available to you? What resources do you have available to you? Okay, boom, do that. Apply yourself to the process. And then boom, and now I'm unemployed again. And everything that I need will be provided and taken care of. And so that's a beautiful thing. But like I said, sometimes you have to put that cart before the horse in order to keep progressing. And it's all about application and consistency. And this middle passage, like it's all a part of the journey. Like you're gonna have your plateaus, and then you're gonna have those in between phases where you're getting stretched or you're going to that next plateau. And that's all, like I said, it's all a part of the journey. It's not A and Z, it's A through Z. And keeping those mental notes sharp, and keeping them at the forefront of my mind definitely helps to end those moments when I'm feeling that angst, because I won't feel like I'm being lost, or I won't feel like I don't know what to do. I just need to step back, take a deep breath, process, understand where I'm at, what I've done, what I'm setting out to do, what I've set out to do, what I've done, what I'm doing, where I need to do, and then just keep building and progressing. Understand what resources I have available to me, and then tap into them, and really trust in that. As long as I take care of what I need to take care of, the Lord will take care of the rest. And thus far, He's definitely been faithful to His word, so I definitely am appreciative of that, for sure. Because sometimes those moments, they can feel heavy, but He'll never place more on us than we can bear. And I'm definitely living proof and testimony of that. So I'm definitely appreciative. And then piggybacking off that middle passage, something that was definitely key was understanding that in the midst of that angst, there'll be different opportunities and different doors that'll open and different things that will present themselves. But no matter what, I have to make sure that the juice is worth the squeeze. And in all things, at all times, making sure the juice is worth the squeeze. And what that means is evaluating every conceivable outcome or possibility to a choice or to an opportunity, and then deciding if those possible outcomes are worth the investment, and worth making that choice towards doing it. And if it's not, then it's not. It's but if it is, then by all means, capitalize on that. But not being caught up by the fantasy of an opportunity, or by how something can appear. Understanding that everything that glitters isn't gold, and understanding that all money isn't good money, and that every opportunity isn't my opportunity. So understanding that, not being persuaded by any of that, especially in those down times and those trying times, because especially in those moments, that's when opportunities can definitely look real appealing. Making money isn't difficult, or Having things isn't difficult, but making money a certain type of way, having things a certain type of way, living a life a certain type of way, that's where the sacrifice comes in. And that's where, when you're tested, will you compromise, or do you continue to develop your fortitude? There's a there's a definite push and test of the faith in those moments, and if you're weak and you succumb, then you get what you get, and whatever we choose, you make your bed, you have to lay in it. But like I said, you definitely have to make sure that the juice is worth the squeeze. Definitely have to make sure that I'm not being persuaded or moved by an opportunity just because it may sound appealing or it may look appealing, but really looking at it for what it is and saying, is this opportunity truly for me? Praying about it, listening for the Lord, not compromising, and just understanding that if that opportunity isn't for me, then that means my opportunity is around the corner. Um, but just like the relationships, I can't risk my what is meant for me by something that's short term or something that's right now, that's finite in this temporary. I have to be willing to hold out for the bigger picture. This is a marathon; it's not a sprint, and just really just waiting for what's for me, because what's for me is for me, and what isn't, and just truly appreciating and allowing the Lord to provide everything that I need, and really trusting in Him with all my heart, not leaning to my own understanding, um, truthfully acknowledging Him in all of my ways, and knowing that He will direct my path. And just like I said, just like with the middle passage, and being in a state of angst and praying about it, stepping back, recognizing the situation for what it is. What do I have available to me? Apply myself um, to that lane, and then trusting that the Lord is going to provide. And sure enough, He came through. Like I said, literally in a week and a half, I went from being unemployed and stressing, trying to figure out how I'm going to take care of a couple of different things, to a week later, now I'm in a better position that's closer to home, that's paying more money, with a clientele that's different that I've ever interacted with. And it's a beautiful situation. And that just comes from trusting in the Lord and applying myself to the process, and not getting stressed out, or not getting down or worried, or looking at a obstacle as a wall, but looking at an obstacle as a speed bump, something that it's not going to deter me. It's just, it may slow me down for a minute or a second, but it's not going to delay my overall trajectory. It's not going to delay my overall growth and where I'm going. Um, it's just another hurdle. It's just another obstacle. It's just another thing that this life is, comprised of, and that's also the beauty of it. And appreciating it and embracing the journey, and understanding that these tests um, aren't always a negative thing, but to be thankful for the test, actually, because the Lord trusts me enough to be put in that situation, and allowing me to grow and continue to develop my courage and my fortitude and my prudence and my temperance and my sense of justice, and understanding, and continuing to grow into the man that He's called me to be. It's like, if I'm not tested, if I'm not put in these situations that force me to grow, then how am I going to grow? If everything is too easy, I become too weak. If everything is too hard, then I become too cold. So I have to have those trying times, along with the good times. I have to have that that cycle. It's the ebb and the flow of life. It's the balance. It's just what it is. So, but as long as I continue to trust in the Lord with all my heart, and not lean to my own understanding, but continue to acknowledge Him in all my ways, and I know He's got me. Like I said, He's shown me time and time again, and He's definitely proven it on multiple occasions. I mean, He woke me up another day. I literally could have been dead on multiple occasions, but the fact that I'm still here is proof in itself that the Lord has got my back. Um, and recognizing that I have to make sure that I continue to apply myself. So definitely wanting love and wanting relationships and wanting, that aspect, but understanding that I just need to continue to apply myself and continue to build and grow and put myself in a position to receive, not flaunt or worry about the external so much, but allow my internal light to shine as well. That's not saying neglect the external and don't take pride or apply yourself or anything like that. That's saying don't just solely focus on that, but be mindful of the images and the messages that I'm personally sending and that we are sending out from an external standpoint, and then allowing our internal light to shine as well, putting myself in a position to receive all the love that I'm worthy of and that I want. And then that middle passage transition stage that I was going through, embracing that transition and that whole flow and that be of that, and not being stressed out, but stepping back, evaluating the situation, everything that I'm at, everything that I have going on, and seeing what I need to do, where I'm at, everything in that regard, and just application and consistency. And then finally making sure the juice is worth the squeeze in all things at all times. Not being blinded by an opportunity or by glitz of a dollar, or something that's monetary or tangible, but recognizing what's for me is for me and what isn't, and trusting in the Lord to direct me. And if it's not worth it, it's not worth it. And not compromising, definitely not compromising, but keeping that moral fiber and keeping those standards. And broad and wide is the path to destruction, but straight and narrow is the path to righteousness. And I'm definitely on the path to righteousness. So as always, I appreciate you for spending time with me and allowing me to unwind and divulge and just express where I'm at, and prayerfully where I'm at, and where the Lord has me, as and the things that He's allowing me to learn is able also something that can help you, and wherever you're at or whatever you have going on. And of course, as always, you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. So I appreciate you. Take care. God bless. And all glory to God. Appreciate you.